This level went through several redesigns over the course of several days. My original inspiration for it was World 7 Level 1 of Super Mario Bros. 3. I somehow recall that being such a cool maze of pipes and such that I wanted to create something similar, even if it was an exact replica. However, much to my dismay, there's an engine limitation of 10 warp pipes in any given level. As a result, my far superior design of my first original scrapped version was unable to be completed. I kinda lost hope and didn't even build anything for about a day or two after that. Still, I could not get around the fact that 10 warp pipes was my limit. So a complete redesign and overhaul was needed. That's when this 3-section motif came about, as you will see in this video. Had to carefully plan and space out my warp pipes to keep it from hitting the engine limitation while still feeling like a proper maze. I hope you enjoy. This was actually a very hard level to test and to clear so I could actually just upload the darn thing. So much so that I actually had to put in 2 power-ups straight from the start, just so I could have Raccoon Mario, and it became a lot easier for me once that happened. I mean, as you can see, I'm just kind of ripping through the enemies here. But, I mean, as a whole, the placement isn't bad. In fact, it's actually quite reasonable. It's just that there's just a lot of things to take into account here and pay attention to. And of course, when you get to the other side, inside the pipes, with the poison, things get a little bit more hectic, because now you can't even fall into the water, as it were. But yes, your main goals for going into the shadow realm of the pipe world, if you will, is to gather items, and items that you're gonna have to carry back with you to where they need to be used. And this isn't exactly readily apparent, and this probably has turned a lot of people off from this level as a result, because sometimes it's not really clear that you actually need some of these items. You just get a pipe that, is spewing out a P-switch or a springboard or something. What the heck am I going to do with this? And unless you know exactly where you're going with it, it can be really confusing on how to get through this pipe maze, but then again, I did label it a labyrinth, so it is kind of maze-like in structure. But this is where you use the springboard, because there's no way you're going to make that jump otherwise, and you're just going to go into a loop over and over again in the bottom areas until you can figure that portion out. Now, this level is separated into 3 main sections, and we just actually completed the first section as marked by a checkpoint. Now, this second section is most likely the most complicated of the bunch and the most expansive. I mean, there's like, I don't know, 60 to 70% of this second area that you really don't need to, even explore. But if you want to get all the pink coins and get all the secrets and everything, then of course you're going to have to. But what I'm showing is the most efficient route to get the item that you need to move on to the third and final section. And that, of course, is not a springboard this time, but a P-switch. Now this one is a little bit obvious on where you would need to use this P-switch. That'd be right here with these blocks. I mean, I would hope that would be kind of obvious, right? I don't know. In fact, this is actually, I think, the first time I've effectively used the P-switch in a way that requires you to progress. So now we move on to the third and final section, where, as I mentioned previously in the video, because of the limitations of 10 warp pipes at any one level, doesn't matter which, sub-areas and things like that, this one is not as confusing or as expansive as the second section. So this one had to be cut back a little bit. And yes, you can go get that 10 coin piece if you really want to, but I'm not going to chance it, because I kind of like Raccoon Mario. But you can obviously see what you need to do here, so this is kind of a combination of the previous 2 items put together. So this time you're going to need the power switch just to get the next item, which would be a springboard. So you're going to have to use both. Now, this one might be a little confusing on where to use the springboard, but if you just pay attention to the level design, and of course that arrow that points up, it kind of gives you a slight hint of where you would need the springboard that you're trying to get right now. Yeah, this particular Buzzy Beetle is a little bit badly placed, or nicely placed, depending on if you're a player or a level designer. It's meant to trip you up for sure. So this one can be a little hard to place and use, but that's pretty much how you get to the next and final section of the level, which is the ending. You're almost home free from this labyrinth. Just one more hurdle with the Lakitu, and some enemies you can't easily kill, and you're home free. And that is Pike Peak's Labyrinth. Not many people might have beaten this one. So the first pink coin is actually quite visible straight from the start in the first section. Now getting there is a little bit of patience and timing, if you will. So you're going to have to use the rising and falling water to your advantage to kind of snag this pink coin here. And it wasn't until this particular level that I actually kind of figured out how the heck to do rising and falling lava, water or lava. Like, I could do rising lava or water, but I couldn't make it go back down. I couldn't figure out how to change direction so it goes back and forward. So it was this level which kind of got me the tools and the skill set to actually, oh, this is how you change it. But yep, you can get an extra 1-up over here in this first section on the dark side. And if you're going for another pink coin, there's 2 in the first section. One on the light side, one on the dark side. This one's a little harder to get. This one requires a small run and duck if you're not Small Mario, and it's really tight timing too. Especially if you're not good at that. Now there's so many ways to go. Now you want to get up in the upper left. That's where the troublesome pink coin is located. The one that's going to take the most work and effort to get. So, let's start the process. First things first, this is kind of a convoluted route just to get a pink coin, but we kind of need to do it. Instead of going up towards the P-switch, you want to go up this way. And you might as well come down for a little 10-piece coin if you want. Wait for the water. And you go into this pipe up here. And this brings you to the right of where you want to go, but a small hidden pipe here with the spring is exactly what you need. But where to use it? Well, obviously, you still can't get up in the upper left, for sure. So how the heck are you going to use the spring? Well, now you kind of have to backtrack slightly to a new route we haven't explored yet. And get hit along the way. One bad thing about carrying items in Super Mario Bros. 3 is that it makes you very buoyant. And what I mean that is it makes you want to float up to the top, much against your will. And that was really close. But yes, this is where you want to use the spring. And this gets you into that little section there, into this very convoluted pink coin you would not be able to get to otherwise. And if not Small Mario, of course you need to do the running duck. Okay, one last pink coin in the second section, also in the dark side. Kind of a little bit of a tight timing here, so make it quick. Whew. Now, the third and final section has one of the hardest pink coins to get, especially if you're going for a no-hit damage run. This is really hard, and even I can't get through unscathed. So it's best to just kind of grin and bear it and get through it quickly. But that's all 6 pink coins. And in case if you want to know how to get this one, you just hop off the enemy there. And finally at the end, let's say you don't make it. You don't make the jump. Oh no, you're in the water. How are you going to get up? Well, there's actually a couple last remaining secrets down here to include a 1-up, a 30 coin, and one last little boon to help you get all the way to the end. You know, in case you need it. This should help you get all the way to the end and wait for that water to come back up to level. Now let's say you got all 6 pink coins, miraculously, all in one go, and got a key. This is your reward. And a star to help you out in the last section, just so you can make it to the end goal safely. And that is all the secrets for Pike Peak Labyrinth.